Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7 p.m. CET, 10 a.m. PST, 3 a.m. +1 in Japan. And it is time for BEEBLE BABBLE number 6. Once again, 50% of our shows have been with creaturecaster Jeremy Glen. And here he is. Hello!
We should change the name of the show to like BEEBLE Caster. What's our name for our cross show?
Yeah, we had a couple of these ideas. So we had the painting casters and the creature Buddhas, for example, and yeah, we could do something like that, I think. So welcome again to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Love the show. Obviously, I'm here all the time.
Yes, and you said in your message to me after actually it was on the day of the when the Kickstarter closed. It was the first show you went on, so you wanted to do the first show after your Kickstarter again. So thank you very much for being on again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's absolutely right. It's it was the first show that I ever did, and this is the first show since the end of the Kickstarter. And I suspect we'll be doing a bunch more of these as well in the future as well.
Yes, and I think that is probably one of the things that I enjoy already. Is like one of your first thoughts after the Kickstarter was to make the thank you video for all of the people that backed the project. To say thank you to the guys at Chilling Wargamers. We had those. Honestly, this was really emotional, even for me watching this video. I had like goosebumps and got little nerd teary in a way. This is really nice, and doing the little snippy things and so on. It was really cool.
Those are the real memories of the campaign, and I keep thinking to myself, what is it gonna like? I'm not a guy that takes a lot of photos. You know, I don't have big photo albums. So now I'm noticing that YouTube is actually the closest thing I have to kind of that photo album. And by doing that thank you video, what I did is I looked at the thank you video of the pre-campaign going into the Kickstarter, and I still get very emotional when I see that. So I thought, oh man, like I'm going to show stuff like my real memories from the campaign, and then that'll be an even greater photograph, and then I'll just keep landmarking these moments and something for my nephew, my niece and nephew to watch, and you know, for my mother to watch as well. And it's funny because through this whole campaign, me and my mother have had so much to talk about because she's recently become a real nerd, like a genuine nerd because of all these the Hobbit movies and the largely because of the Hobbit movies. So it brought us together.
I tried to ease my mom into that. I think one of the first movies that I made her watch was SpongeBob the movie, just to see how she would react.
Cool, yeah.
But we also do the Lord of the Rings. I gave them all those DVDs and so on. I wouldn't say she's a nerd like that yet, but she actually reads our Master Minis blog, even though her English is not as good. She reads that. She always asks me questions about that. She watches some of these videos and asks also about the Creature Caster campaign. And last week on Mother's Day, she told me, "So you know what? Like everywhere I look, I see 42." I said, "Mom, it has always been there. It's just now that you realize that's what it is." So it's kind of fun. Well, before we maybe have a look at your Kickstarter, I want to say hi to everyone out there. There's actually a couple of people live already. I know that David was, I think, the first to say I'm going to be there. Then we have the Badenmorth. Of course, we have Mazdamundi85, who's been with us from the first minute, I would have to say, with the Kickstarter, and all of the other guys there. So for everyone watching, leave your comments below, and we'll... let me just get this off the way because I can't see the comments. And we will respond to your comments live. That's going to be nice. So let's have a look at the Kickstarter real quick, shouldn't we?
Yeah, the final Kickstarter page. Now, for everybody...
Oh, we have this again. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, the infinity...
Yeah, the vortex. It's like you test it, you set everything up, and then it goes like, no, it's the vortex.
We have stared into the void.
Why is that? Come on. Try again, real quick. Oh, no. It's still on there.
I love staring into the void. It's when the void stares back.
You know what? Let's do this on the fly so people can see what's actually going on. So we will kill this. Ooh, it's all black.
Ooh, I like it.
It's kind of funny. Like every time I go live, it seems to mess this up. Add a screen region. How about this one here? Okay.
There you go.
All right.
So just so everybody knows, the page for the Kickstarter will stay up forever. Just
Yes.
like you get to see all those other campaigns that have happened, and this is very valuable when you're running a Kickstarter because you want to look at all those pages and you want to do lots and lots of research. And so now I get to have my own little piece of Kickstarter history there. But one thing you'll notice is the changes on the page is I put a thank you message there. And of
Yes.
course, we've been talking about the thank you video as well.
Mm-hmm. And for everyone who has not watched the video yet, watch the video. I'm not going to play it now because I don't have my tissues ready. No, but really, it was really nice to see that video, and I felt very proud to actually have been part of this campaign a little bit, and being able to send at least one or two people your way. So it's really nice. And now look at the number, 324,000 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, wow.
That is a good number.
That's a good. It's a nice number, and of course that number is going to drop a little bit because as we're processing payments, we're going to notice that some of them didn't process through, and we got to give that 30 days, a full 30, to all kind of let Amazon go through their checkout process. But yeah, it was an incredible success, like in terms of all that money, all that capital goes into making the company, and it's like it would have taken us. Oh, it would have taken me years and years to take the profits from one model, then make the next model off of the profits, then profit with that, then use those profits. It literally kickstarts the business right ahead.
Yeah, and I just turbo scrolled. I just turbo scrolled to that spot because this is really what you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, you're making a nice model. You find a couple of hundred fans, and then you're making the next model, and it grows and grows and grows. But you're right; it is a slow process. And being able to actually have all of these awesome designs available right now, like it's kind of this, when do we want it now, right? That's what it is. And with the crowdfunding. You were able to actually do all of these things. And I think this Kickstarter is probably one of the Kickstarters of recent months, at least, that I noticed, that are like a true Kickstarter from a company that is a real Kickstart and not a company that's just looking for a sales channel. And it's been really successful. I mean,
we also
done something right.
Where I appreciate you saying that. And we also had a unique thing where we had. Like normally a Kickstarter like ours won't even have any models completely sculpted.
Yes.
What I say completely sculpted, like every model is a work in progress, but you know, six of our models are like 90% sculpted. Most Kickstarters don't do that, so it actually looks like we kind of are one of those like Kickstarters that already has a back catalog that's reselling it on Kickstarter. And but we're not. We haven't produced any of those models. But it was just like for me to show that I knew what I was doing. I wanted to finish some models, and I wanted to print some models. But I was getting messages from people saying, if you've printed models and if you've made these, why are you doing a Kickstarter? And it seemed like a good question on their end. But of course, I had never made these models commercially, so I really was running a Kickstarter. But it was a very strange. It was very strange and difficult at times to explain to people that I really just went above and beyond what's normally expected of Kickstarters.
Well, and I think and I have this discussion in the last week with a couple of other companies as well that are either running Kickstarters right now or that want to run Kickstarters. I mean, the question really is what comes after the Kickstarter. What are your goals? Is it just a kind of cash grab? You sell what you have and then you just buy your yacht, as we said in one of the earlier videos, or is this a starting point for you? And I think we have established very clearly that this is a starting point. Now we both know that printing 3D models is extremely expensive. Now these things cost a fortune. I mean, you could probably buy a car for one, like a small car for one of these. And then, of course, you have the whole casting process. You have to have the molds ready. You have to pay the casters. You got the whole logistics, and that's kind of what setting up this kind of infrastructure is what you need to kickstart your business. It's not just having an idea and a great product. You have to get it to the supporters in the end and to the backers.
Well, and plus, you're not spending any money on marketing within that time. You've actually you get to save all that money because you've already, of course. Have the backers that are watching your campaign very intently. Backers are like, and I know backers are watching this right now, so I hate to talk about you in the third person, like as if you're some demographic. You're not just some pool. Like I treat my backers like with a lot of dignity. I have a lot of respect for them. So I tend not to speak of them in such broad terms. But
Right.
if I could, I was going to say backers are like super fans. Like they're not your average people who are going to follow your page.
Mm-hmm.
There was I listened to a very interesting talk from a marketing woman, and she said if you look at your Facebook likes, you can find 1/10 of those people are going to, you know, actively read all your posts,
Yes.
and then 1/100th of those people are going to actually support you financially. So you should always assume like the 1/10 rule. You should always subtract things by 1/10, and with backers, it's like literally 100% of those backers are people that financially support the company. That's
Yeah.
a crazy inversion. Normally, I'm used to like searching, and now the search is over. So I love that I don't have to worry about marketing, no banner clicks, no, you know, forum posts saying, please notice me. Now it's different. Now it's me saying, notice what I've done. You know, look at what I've done for you.
Mm. And I think not only I think I know for a fact that a lot of people that are interested in running campaigns or that are running campaigns right now have been watching your Kickstarters quite closely, because I think there's a lot to learn from that. Really, first of all, I think you've done just a really excellent job keeping building up the interest before the Kickstarter. We also had a couple of pre-Kickstarter shows. You had your Facebook set up, you had your website set up, you had some content there were videos there. It was already clear what you wanted to do at this point. And then by adding this kind of interactive element to chatting to people on Facebook, having these interactive shows where you take your Cintiq and then people say, well, I don't like the mouth of the Spider Queen, and then you go like, okay, well, how about this one? And you change things on the fly. I think this kind of added a quality to a Kickstarter that honestly I have not seen before. Definitely not from large companies. Of course, smaller people, smaller companies try to do this, but this was really done well. And I think the second thing that was new to me, the classic Kickstarter feeling is you buy a product, and the higher the value gets on the Kickstarter, the more free stuff you get.
Right.
Now, if you're really doing a Kickstarter and you need the money, handing out free stuff is probably the least of your concerns. That's not what you want to do. That's what you can do if you already got millions in the bank, like other companies do. And I think just by adding new cool models throughout the Kickstarter, this typical, you got the kind of it goes up on the first day, it stays steady till day 25, and then on day 26 you got a few more. This completely vanished. Your Kickstarter just, it was almost like a line. You could put a line on it. It grew the whole time. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you try to? I mean, obviously you try to achieve that, but how do you feel about that?
Well, I honestly couldn't. Not to sound immodest. Like you know, the reason why the campaign looks so tight is because I was so obsessive about designing the campaign. I didn't sleep a lot in that time. Obviously, you saw me go through a progression of looking.
Like every video, your eyes were darker and darker. The thank you video. Watch the thank you video. Just watch the eyes. They're really dark.
It's amazing. Even looking at it today and looking at me on this program, I literally look like 5 years younger on this program. And I feel, you know, I didn't feel tired, but my body was so, you know, just broken down from being awake so much.
Yeah.
And it wasn't stress. It wasn't like I never felt stress. I never felt any sort of fear. I really just wanted to make everybody happy. That was something I noticed was strange. My willingness, or my you know, just this weird instinct to make everybody happy. That was a strange, unforeseen thing that I didn't realize how much of a people pleaser I was. And of course, we all know this can be a bad thing in life sometimes,
yes.
And sometimes it's good. So it's me going through my own journey, trying to figure out what level. You know, I want people to have their voice in these models, but it's important to have my voice as well. And then I get to distribute how much of column A and how much of column B is there. So it's a very cool process. But another thing I was going to mention about the campaign was that when's the last time you've seen a campaign that voluntarily stopped putting out models?
Yeah, no kidding.
To me, I can't find one. I know some campaigns that have a set amount of things and never add models, but I've never found a campaign that's added models and said, okay, we're done. That's good.
And I think, I mean, we talked about this on the shows. You talked about this on your kind podcast that you did, or your videos, and also on the Chilling Wargamers. And Andy2D6 just says snippy snippy. So
Oh,
it's my
right on.
shout out. But so you talked about this, that you tried not to get greedy. And I think it would have been really easy to get greedy at some point because the success was just there. And I know you have some very crazy ideas for future projects, so why not put them out now and just add one more and another more and another? So what got you to the point not to get greedy?
It's really easy. It was an impulse I had. A lot of these things were impulses I had. Kickstarter's the Wild West. You get to make it up as you go along. There's no rules. It's everybody looks at each other's campaigns. I knew I didn't want it to be. I didn't want to dump everything in at the 0 hour at the last moment. I didn't want anybody to have a stress reaction in front of the keyboard. I wanted there to be a scarcity, but I wanted it to come from a reward standpoint, not an incentive standpoint. And psychologically, there's something very pleasing about that. To me, it's like I was talking to the guys from Cool Mini, and they said sometimes when we give people at a convention a limited edition model, that's very special.
Yeah.
And that's something just for those people, and it's a way to tattoo them as the kind of people that were at the convention. And that's I thought about that a lot when I was doing. They gave me some great advice. My friend Ari does consultation work. He writes the postmortems on Daka Daka about Kickstarters and has become a Kickstarter expert as a result. And he told me very early in the campaign, look, if you don't have any more models that you're comfortable adding, or if you've got a long tail of them, don't be afraid to just tell people that you're out of models. He said people will be very receptive towards that. So that kind of confirmed my instinct to keep things manageable, keep just kind of a nice pool of stuff. And yeah, I do have a lot of. It's funny because not to sound unfocused. I'm sculpting every day. Literally, I took one morning off and then I was back to work. It's kind of sad, really. I should have taken at least a full day, but I was back here at night sculpting. And as I'm working, I think about other ideas. Very rarely for sculpts. Usually, I'm giving all that attention to the sculpt I'm working on. But I think a lot about games. And just kind of game theory and what pleases me as a gamer and how my age affects that and how my experiences have affected that. Because I do eventually want to do games. But also, right now I'm looking at my toolbar on top of my screen, and there's classes in game design. There's a Dungeons and Dragons documentary I'm watching with Gary Gygax. That's my stuff that I watch when I sculpt right now. It's pretty fun.
Nice. So I think as far as the models are concerned, in one of the shows we did earlier, you talked about ideas that are far out, kind of not necessarily mainstream. And I think your Possessed Dragon, the 200,000 Canadian dollar model, kind of shows us a direction this could go. And I'm just going to put it on screen again.
Yeah, we actually got progressively.
Tell us about it.
Well, we got progressively weirder as the campaign went through the campaign. So, this is a nice expression of it. Of course, this started off as a relatively tame two-headed dragon, and then Forge World has a two-headed kind of dragon, and I was like, I don't really want to do another thing like that. And people are constantly comparing me to GW, and I totally understand that. They are a big influence, and I totally get that, but my real influence is Gary Gygax and Dungeons and Dragons. That's my true passion. It is also a huge influence for GW, so it's no wonder why it kind of colors and influences their design. So this, to me, is a way of getting back to these kind of fantasy archetypes of pure randomness and just like pure infernal torn apartness. And so it you know, as opposed to making it kind of more like a Tiamat with very separate head stalks and a very deliberate anatomy, this was my chance to make a very unrealistic anatomy, just kind of an anatomy that formed itself.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I can already see how you can make do really great things to this paint wise, like with little glue effects where you get glue like saliva and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be really sweet. So
that one's gonna be fun, and it's my next one that I'm sculpting right now on my computer. I'm just looking at it right over there. It's the zombie dragon is on the computer, and every day I'm calling him the Dragon. And Dragon is what all my save files are called. And so he's right now getting backed up, and every day I'm working on him. And then that will be for another 4 days. And then what I do is I tend to start another model, and I'll let one sit for a little while. And if you know something, if I had a conversation with a friend, or if I had a interaction with a backer, then I can go back and look at it a little more critically, as opposed to having it be the model that's in front of me.
Yeah.
The next model will be the possessed dragon, the Pragan.
The Pragan. Well, I mean, you got 26 letters in the alphabet, so I think we got a lot of dragons coming our way. I want a Fragan. Definitely.
Yeah, Fragan. Yeah, Fragan would be good. A Bragan.
Bragan would be good too. Well, next thing I want to talk about is kind of the next steps, because I know you're working on the pledge manager, and actually I would like to know for myself how I will use the pledge manager later on to adjust my pledges. But before we do that, I'm just going to do a couple of shout outs, and we have Fear GFX saying that he won't be watching us live. I will absolve you for the moment. I'll talk about this with you in private.
You are
then, of course, we already had the Baneworth, who's checking out whether this has better quality and or lag on Google Plus than on YouTube. I would be interested in that. Mastermundi85, of course, very big fat congratulations to you, Jeremy, for running such an awesome campaign.
Thank you.
Then we have Henry South here. He is a double supporter, if you want. He's not only a Demon Bundle backer, but he's also a Season 1.2, 1.3 Painting Buddha backer. So,
oh, wow.
You got it. Now you got a beautiful miniature. You will probably get. I'm pretty sure that you also got the painting DVD on the Creature Caster Kickstarter, and then you get a nice basing DVD and a freehand DVD. I'm going to be watching for shows next year where you're going to collect all of those awards. It's going to be nice. So it's good.
I hope he goes to conventions. It'd be nice to shake his hand.
Yes. We will be talking about Gen Con, remind me. Then we have, and sorry for completely butchering that again, but it's FYD, Forja e Desvan TV. You've been on the show as well. Little shout out. My question for me is, when do a video with us? Beginning of June. Our DVDs will be here soon. I can only say that. I'm still waiting on that, but it will be in May for sure. And we will be sending those out, so we'll do the show then. And then we got Mac Dark Beer. Oops, a little late, but made it. Yes, you're here.
Well,
good.
Good to have you, Justin.
All right, so let's talk about the pledge manager, and maybe the next, I think, 30 days. I think I heard you say somewhere in the also in the thank you video. And let's just have a look at the website again. Let me find my button here.
Well, the pledge manager, you know, like Kickstarter has its own survey system. It has its own kind of back end that allows you to go and ask people what they pledge towards, what their address is, and then that way you can, of course, get them their package. And the most confusing thing about Kickstarter is that you pledge on something, but there's no way of telling me what you pledged on.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's unique to my campaign. Almost every campaign is like that. But I didn't do, actually, if I were to do it again, I would have spent even more time letting people know, yes, this does feel weird. Yes, it does. Whenever I do a Kickstarter, I always feel weird because it's like, I want to tell you what I want because I don't want to wait till later.
Yeah.
The good news is the pledge manager, what was really important was that I had some kind of really powerful back end that was graphical, that had pictures on it. Because if anybody knows me, they know that I'm not a big reader. Like I'm not really, I have ADD, so I'm not really good at reading lots of text. And
yeah, you don't want to read my articles, my walls on text on the future of Games Workshop and Games Days.
well,
Walls of text.
I do read Master Mini stuff. I do read Master Mini articles, but I'll read like 300 words maximum, and then after that, it's very difficult.
That's just, for me, that's just a headline, man.
But they're good. They're good articles. You know, it's the kind of thing where it's also a bit intimidating for me because I'm not as confident with the left side of my brain as I am with the right. So if I see a picture there, I feel relieved and I feel confident and I can click on the picture. So it was very important that we had a pledge manager that was very graphical and very robust, gave you lots of payment options, just felt really, really good. And it just feels so good. And then you keep it open. You can change your address. You can change your entire pledge if you like. You can actually change your entire pledge before locking it in. So it's so powerful. And the guy who's making that possible is Kenny. Kenny's a guy who has done the Impact Miniatures pledge managers. He's done pledge managers for a bunch of Kickstarters before, and actually miniature-specific Kickstarters. So that he just couldn't be more perfect. And he was suggested to me by a friend, and we hit the ground running. I talked to him, and great guy. And not only that, mine is the biggest Kickstarter that he's done. Mine is also the biggest Kickstarter I've ever had, and he is able to he's able to develop. That means basically I can pay him more than the average Kickstarter can, because typically they work on kind of a percentage, and this is really enabling him to develop a set of skills that are then transferable to other Kickstarters, and he's able to have an even better business doing what he does with pledge managers. So it's my favorite thing to do is my step ahead is everybody's step ahead, and if their step ahead is my step ahead, then you know it's this constant forward march, and that's a beautiful thing. So he got right on board with that, and you know it's if you have a Kickstarter out there, and if you did want to use somebody, and if you do enjoy the process of the Creature Caster pledge manager, then you know it's all Kenny. That's all him.
Good. Now the pledge manager right now I can't do anything to my pledges. I think that part is gone. Is that correct? And it will be back in about what, a month?
Yeah. So we're gonna wait the 30 days. That's just so that the Amazon checkout process has a chance to verify everybody's payment, and some payments will drop off. So the number on the Kickstarter campaign will drop, and then it's all going to go to the pledge manager. That's where you decide on your final items, and then you lock in your pledge. Once you feel like all your information is there, you lock it in.
I think that's one of the nice things about this pledge manager is I think about half of the people were there from day one. So they started pledging very, very early, and I know myself when I pledge that is my pledge, and it usually doesn't change during the course of the Kickstarter at all. But now you've added a handful of really awesome miniatures, and I have good friends that curse me for actually telling them about you, about the Kickstarter. They're like, oh, I spent so much money. But I think the nice thing is that when you got the pledge manager, you can add, you can change. If you're a bronze level pledger and now you don't want the spider demon anymore, but you want the tree walker, you can change this. You can upgrade your pledges. You can select different packages and so on. And honestly, Jeremy, if you look at your prices and what you get for it, I would be very surprised if people don't realize that and say, you know what, this is a one-time chance to actually get a really, really cool model at a cool price. Just look at other companies and what they charge for it. You can buy 2 or 3 of your miniatures for the same price, and I think your quality is better. So
the miniatures are a great price, and like even looking at it's funny. I was looking at I have the Emperor Dragon's head here. I was using it as reference when I was doing the even if you look at like, if you were to look at his entire body, even compared to the size of his head, like, and the detail that's on this, I know it's difficult to show on the camera, but
Sure.
I love this dragon head. I spent a long time on this, and I just think about everybody's in this race to make plastic. Everybody's in this like, oh, I want to get plastic injection and get my tooling done on my dies, and I just realized now in my heart that now I might change my mind one day. So I'm open to change.
Sure.
But just in my heart, I just love. I've always loved resin casting because resin. I used to do it in my kitchen, like in one block over when Sophie and I lived one block down the street, and I did resin casting there. And now I'm still doing resin casting. So it's like with all the advances in technology to affect my sculpting process, my manufacturing process is the same that anybody can use. You can do it in your home, you can do it in a factory, it doesn't matter. And I love the democracy of that, that everybody, every cottage industry can be involved in that manufacturing process.
Yeah, and I think resin, plastic, metal. There's always this discussion between those three. Personally, for small miniatures and especially for collectibles, I still like metal. I may be very old school for that, but if you're a collector and if you're looking at eBay, the things that sell at a value are from metal because in 50 years they will look the same. Now with resin, especially from certain companies, after 50 days they don't look the same anymore because they're melting in the sun or something. But if you have a large miniature like yours, obviously metal is no-go. First of all, you couldn't even do it technically; it would just burst. But secondly, compared to plastic, I always prefer the weight of it. I don't like large plastic models that are completely hollow, and you lift them up and you got like nothing in your hand. And if I look at these
demons, very strange. It loses a substantial quality.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. And so no, I'm all good with your resin model. So it's a good choice.
I love them too, and I love to paint it. I love that resin. If you use no fillers, no paper, no polystone, if it's pure 2-part epoxy resin, it just soaks up primer. So you're painting on top of a surface that just loves to be primed. It loves to retain that little bit of texture, and that weight in your hand feels good when you're painting it. Yeah. And of course, gaming with it as well, because you don't want these things tipping over. You want them to have a nice substantial weight on the table. Yeah, I can't wait. Every time, it's not I'm not far off from the backers when these models come back to me, the prints, and when the casts come back to me. I'm in the exact same camp, so I know I've gotten to go through the whole feeling once. To realize what my backers are going to then be part of. So I don't want anybody thinking that I'm looking at this from on high, knowing what to expect. Like I see my sculpt leave, and then I'm always pleasantly surprised and get to go through that whole process.
I think we're very similar to that in that aspect because today we got a couple of stickers in that we will add on for the like a thank you, like for all of the pre-orders that we have for DVDs. We have a little miniature that you will never be able to buy. It's just a miniature.
You guys are always giving gifts, man. You got great gifts in your stuff.
Well, I mean, it's our way of saying thank you because we're not running a Kickstarter right now, and these people we've announced the product in December. And we said the kind of tentative date would be April, and we had hundreds of people willing to wait that long just to support us, just to make it happen, really. And we said we don't need stretch goals; we just add stuff on top of that. And so we did a little miniature. We have a free sample of a sculpting putty, which we got from Beast Putties. We're working with them as well for the casting and so on.
Cool.
We have, of course, stickers and all these kind of things. So, and we have a postcard and so. So little things. And like when we got the box today, we were ripping it open and getting the stickers out. We're like, ooh, cool stickers! We're just sticking them everywhere. So just make sure that they stick. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, something you do and then you get the final product. It's just a good feeling, isn't it?
It's exciting for us too. We get to be. I think some part of this hobby, I'm not sure how much or how little, relates back to when I used to open presents when I was a child, or I had a favorite cartoon, and that cartoon would come out with a toy. and then I would play with the toy. I do remember when I was a kid, why aren't there games with these toys? Because they're all pre-painted, they're all quite well constructed. I can imagine with my GI Joes, I could like do a weapon swap, and then that would have a different level of stats. So I did always wonder why GI Joe wasn't a game. But I do think that some part of like us unboxing something that shows up is heralds back to that feeling. And if I'm right about that, then I think some part of our hobby heralds back to a retention of the values we had when we were children, and kind of a maybe a Peter Pan kind of feeling where we don't want everything to grow up. We want, you know, we constantly let things, you know, speaking as an older gamer, we have to mature and we have to let things slip away, like a lot of our ideas about the world and a lot of our optimism. You see it all the time with Star Trek fans. Star Trek fans are like some of the most optimistic people I've ever met, because they have been, you know, subject to a view of the future which is largely optimistic. You know, people working together, no one gets left behind. And then you see life come in, and life just constantly challenges that with like greed and with all sorts of people being left behind and inequality of rights. So I think in a way it's most great for a nerd to hang on to those aspects of youth, but it's also most sad when we have to give it up as well.
Well, I think I've passed the point where I can say for sure I'm not going to give it up. My mom always says, son, she's junior. She says, Junior, when are you ever going to grow up? I said, Mom, the day I grow up, you should be really worried, because I'm not going to grow up. And it's kind of interesting that you say that, because I have a very, very similar feeling for the last few years, where before I was 21, I went to university, to school, and I mean, you're doing things you do when you're a kid. You got dreams, and you have a certain view on the world, and how you would like the world to be. And then you're leaving university, or you're leaving the school, you start your normal job, you're kind of chasing the money, and so I think for me it's like between 21 and 42, coincidentally. That time is just, you're not really controlling the universe as the universe is controlling you. You got no impact on whatever it's. You're just chasing whatever you're chasing at this point. And then at some point the realization sets, and for me there was when I was like 38 or so, that is not exactly what I wanted to do with my life. And then you're remembering what were my aspirations as a kid. How would I like to see the world? And then you say, why not just do something different and change it, and just do whatever you were dreaming about. And that's why we started the Painting Buddha thing. And I think it's kind of a similar way of looking at it, like you just said. It's kind of readjusting yourself to what you really want. And I think when you have reached a certain age, when you've reached a certain security in your life, when you had a steady job, that's the time when you have to sit down and really think, is this what I want to do? Right, and then
as an adult, you're also going to start to be pulled in lots of different directions, stuff that you hadn't planned on earlier. You know, I've been a tattoo artist largely my whole life. Before I was a freelance sculptor, and then I overlapped the two. So life never asked me to grow up as a tattoo artist, and it certainly never asked me to grow up as a freelancer. So it's like, it is interesting to. I don't have kids, you know. I don't have. I'm not married. So it's not like I'm being pulled in those directions. But I love being an adult gamer. I love having that you know, kind of long experience of playing different kinds of games. And adult gamers from our generation that saw the birth of video games, that saw the birth of popularized, mass-marketed war games, and we were there through that whole arc. So. It's a cool time. It's a very, very cool time, and you know, we're actually witnessing what is going to be an insane growth period over the next 5 years. It's going to be really cool.
Yes, I think we are really in an exciting time, because we're coming from the. There's been a couple of shifts, I think, in the gaming industry. Of course, you had those flat figure models in the 1800s, maybe up to the early 2000s. But that's kind of dwindling right now. And then you had, of course, the metal miniatures going into plastic, and we all know which companies we're talking about right now. And I have the feeling they're a little bit dwindling right now as well. So, and now we got all of these really creative people all over the world connected through the magic of internetry. We got distributed production and manufacturing and logistics. So we have a lot of different ways of realizing dreams about the hobby. Really anything. It doesn't have to be gaming. It can be anything really. There's just a different way, and we now see people like you, other people like Justin from Arcane Factories and so on, trying to enrich the hobby with what they want to do, with what their vision is. And I think it's really an exciting time to be. And I'm going to be really interested to see what the landscape will be in 5 years. I have the feeling it's going to be very different. Not all for the better, but I think a lot for the better.
Well, the good news is it seems like, and this is a fairly ignorant opinion because I'm just now entering into the Kickstarter thing, so I don't fancy myself to be an expert on any of this. But having said that, we have noticed a couple really big successes in Kickstarter with some board games and with some tabletop games. We've noticed a couple big failures, and we've actually noticed good examples of what to do and what not to do. And it seems like those, Kingdom Death being a wild success, and then people like Defiance or Torn Armor being like examples of how bad it can go.
Yes.
Although
you lose your money.
Yeah, you literally are losing money. So to me that's as bad as it can get. It's made even worse by the fact that I think the Torn Armor system is a very good idea, and I also think the Defiance sculpts are really cool, but doesn't matter because they're not returning emails, which is to me just such a cardinal sin. Since all these people are what I call icebreakers, they're like the ships that go ahead of the barges to make sure the icebergs are all broken up. It allows people to go in with their ideas. But I view Creature Caster as it's a very singular effort. It's very focused on sculpts. It's not a game system.
Yes.
I was actually surprised that people were as interested in the storylines that I had made in my head and wanted to expand those. So I started to think to myself towards the end of the campaign. I actually was just on a walk yesterday and I was thinking about it, which was how maybe Kickstarter, maybe the world is ready for some of our own personal weird ideas in gaming. Like maybe Kickstarter is the place to be as unique as you can be, not as safe as you can be. I kept my campaign very singular and very focused because I felt if it was too wild, then I would buck off the mainstream. But then I realized we're not the mainstream. We're a collection of, it's like herding cats.
We had this very discussion 2 weeks ago when we talked about crazy ideas, and the whole world thinks we're crazy already.
Exactly.
We are playing with miniatures, like grown men playing with miniatures. Hello, right? So why not be crazy?
We should almost go crazier. We should have worlds that are even more fantastic. Have themes. I was thinking a lot about just these comparisons that I get to GW. I have to constantly correct people and say, no, if you look at the 1975 Advanced Dungeons & Dragons book, you can literally take the type 1 through 5 demons. Those are my demons. It's pre-GW. But then I was thinking, you know what? I'm not doing enough work to push the envelope. I've actually got to do more work to do that. I got to Gary Gygax. Hopefully I get to meet Larry Elmore at Gen Con. And I got to think, when I go see Larry, I got to tell him, look, dude, I basically sculpted your dragon that you designed 30 years ago. And which is like my way of honoring him. I would say that to Giger, the late H.R. Giger, or to Frazetta as well, that I've done these things to honor them, and I'm sure they would accept it as such. Supposedly, Larry Elmore is a fan of my sculpts and is very supportive, as opposed to John Blanche, who is not very supportive.
No.
So no, he's not. I got an email from him. He's not happy.
I shared my hamburger with him once. I did. It was funny.
Was he a happy guy?
No. I knew who he was. It was kind of funny. It was at a Games Day Germany. I don't think I'm going to say anything I shouldn't be saying, but it was at the Games Day Germany, and because we have the booths there, we're sitting down at the Hard Rock Cafe, and you get like a burger and fries and so on. Like all the Games Workshop staff is there. So he came in with his family, and I knew who he was, and he sat at our table because there was no room. And I said, so what are you doing for Games Workshop? Like a classic me. And he's like, I am John Blanche. That was his response. But no, I honestly, I have to say, after the first maybe shockwave that went through me at that moment, it was really nice talking to him. He was a nice guy. But
Well, that guy's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, I think he can be. I like his artwork. I think his artwork, the old stuff, is probably one of my favorites as well. I also like his femme fatale miniature lines that he did. I think he's probably not the easiest guy to work with, but then again, who is? So I'm not gonna pass the judgment there. No,
Well, you gotta wonder
too
if he ever gets upset that other people take his ideas and then go. When I look at his style, I see a very wild style. Like it seems like they almost take his stuff, water it down to a point where they can actually give it to the mass public. But imagine if he was encouraged to go even wilder. So I do feel for him in that sense that he is a very unchained artist, and I do respect that he's got such a wild, intuitive style.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I think we probably could talk about some of the design decisions in the last couple of weeks and months of that certain company, and probably think of a couple of chained artists there that probably shaking their boots releasing products. So
well, I get emails from GW artists. Like, people forget that they're people too, you know, like they're humans too, and they're very, very interested in art. Like they're people that have a wealth of experience. A lot of their sculptors have their own portfolios and their own interests. They love art like everybody else. So, you know, I know that you know, largely Forge World artists have been following the Creature Caster campaign, and I've gotten some very nice words of support from those guys. Certainly the ones that have been following the campaign. I do not get a feeling of animosity or competition.
No, I think the Forge World guys. I make a very clear distinction between the people of Games Workshop. I think Forge World, to me, 100% of the guys are super cool. Those guys are awesome. I mean, I talk to them at many shows. They're always nice. They're always telling everything that you want to know. They make awesome models. I really like those guys. And for Games Workshop, that's true for pretty much everyone I meet. The people I don't meet are the ones I don't like, and they're sitting way high up. So
well, same here, because there's got to be someone I don't like there, because they make some choices that are completely wacky. But I know also, if I were to, I've been in enough production environments to know that it's very easy for a person with seniority to you've got a concept artist. I think we talked about this a while ago. It's something I talk about a lot with Joe, sculptor Joe from Creature Caster, and we're talking about how you can have a whole meeting, have a great direction, a great trajectory for a model, and then a person in a suit or a supervisor comes in and says, I just had lunch with the boss. We decided we're going to do it like this.
Yeah, and that's the way it works now. Yeah.
It's insane. And not only that, but like, people get hired because they know somebody. People get like fired because another person who's higher up doesn't like them. It's not a world that rewards the hardest working, most visionary artists. It's very typically just that kind of office politic kind of thing.
It's interesting because, I mean, you mentioned your role models, and for me, my role model is I won't be able to ever meet him again. I did meet him once for just a very few seconds. It's Douglas Adams, the author of The Hitchhiker's Guide, and I mean, really his kind of way of turning the universe upside down and just making fun of it. That's kind of how I try to work, even in the professional workplace when I was in a different in my previous life. And I always said, and I think this works very, very well, as a leader, you have to make sure that you are the dumbest of them all. All the people that you work with should be better than you. If somebody is not better than you, then it's the wrong person. And I think that's kind of, you have to realize that without these people, you're nothing, right? And,
well, and that's a great attitude to have with the Kickstarter as well, because, you know, when I was asking for people's feedback, I meant like, I'm actually the kind of person that's going to take your feedback and apply it. Nobody knew that. I understood that we didn't have that relationship yet. I tried to establish that in the pre-campaign. I think some people got it, so they were very outspoken. People like Banemorth, for example, who's here, he gives great suggestions, and I listen. I do what he says. He's an expert. He or she, I assume it's a he, plays miniature war games, and I believe these people are experts. So, you know, if you spent more than $30 in this hobby, you're an expert, in my opinion. And I'm
Oh,
gonna list,
you bought the wrong miniature.
or you got some expensive, or you realize the hobby wasn't for you.
35 euro plastic somewhere.
But
Well,
yeah, so like it's I don't expect people to understand that that's the direction of energy is that it's actually reciprocal, but people discover it after a while. Look, this is we did some interesting stuff with this campaign, and I think we're going to see more. We of course see video from Forge World. I watch
mhm,
every Forge World video and
mhm,
listen to those guys, and have gotten to know them through their video process.
mhm.
Um, I,
And
I
they got incredible artists sitting there. I mean, all
and
the
and they're
guys.
all solid guys. It's nice to see that they're really nice guys.
Mhm.
And I'm like, where's Privateer Press, man? Show up! Like, I want to see you on video. I want to see people talking about it because
Mhm.
I want to especially get that from the mid-range companies.
Mhm.
I think it would be great if your distinction from your unique selling point from those big companies was that you do have a presence. And
Mhm.
I would love it if Privateer Press said, "We've got a whole new division. It is the interview division, and we're just going to have people go around and talk to." Okay, can you imagine? I would watch that channel every day.
Yeah, I would even pay watching for that. so, so
If I could buy a subscription to watch them work or to have conversations with them, I would buy that subscription every day.
I'm just realizing that some of the comments on YouTube do not show up in the comment tracker here. So I'm just kind of skimming over those. The next area I do want to. But the Bane Moth just says, "Oh God, I'm no expert."
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
and he says, "Yes, I'm a he." I
we
just
could almost write a list of the stuff that I've gotten from Baymorth. But there's a couple people. There's out of the campaign of 1,500 people, there was about 20 solid backers that were with me every step.
Yeah, it's nice. Then we have Henry South. Also, he posted at 7:42. Props for that. He said that at first I thought I was seeing the cost in British pounds when he looked at your Kickstarter. After I saw the conversion rate, I immediately bought the whole bundle. It's like maybe before you realize your mistake, this is not pounds.
Totally.
Yeah, but it's really nice. I think that is yeah. We talked about the prices before. I wouldn't say they're insane. They're extremely fair,
Mhm.
and we know the quality that comes out of it. Good price. Next thing I would like to talk about is the one thing we're already doing now is kind of the campaign is over. And there's no leaning back on your side and kind of vanishing from the scene.
Mhm.
So we were talking a little bit about the months to come, even after the Pledge Manager is out,
Yep.
and maybe also a little bit about our little cooperation and the DVD we're doing there. And with that, I want to give a shout out to Erika Lindström. I'm pretty sure she's a she, so hi. And she also got the whole season 1 package, if I remember correctly, from the orders. And she says that I have a chance to study them and hopefully get better at painting, so I don't ruin Jeremy's fine models. So
Uh, it's good to have Erica here. Yeah, it's the thing is I'll add to that too is that I'm going to be doing some painting. I'm going to be just doing some base coating and some. What I'm going to do is just a caveman because you guys got amazing videos and that's going to be for me my inspiration to do my cool mini paint jobs. But my
mhm,
studio paint jobs are going to be what I mean by that is just the stuff I put on cool mini to rank.
sure.
Um, but the my home paint jobs will be caveman paint jobs or cave person paint jobs to keep it gender neutral, and my cave person paint jobs are going to be base coat, ink, dry brush, and this is because well half because it is really my style. I
Mm,
actually do a lot of finger painting and a lot of like really rough stuff. But also the other half because it's just applicable to a group of people that feels that having a step-by-step way to go through with tried and tested techniques would be the most useful for getting through these models.
mm. So then of course we have the little higher version, the painting Buddha, creature caster, painting creatures, Buddha casters.
I can't wait. You know, it's funny that's the DVD, and it's funny because like I can't. Obviously, I can't wait to see it, but I can't wait to see the base for it because you guys are amazing at doing this, and you're also doing special stuff for it as well, aren't you?
Yes. Now, I mean, basing is something that is very close to our heart right now. Ben, also Matt, who worked on the DVD. They're not only awesome painters with I don't know how many, well, 4 Slayer swords and some 50 some demons and many even more important national awards, but they know how to judge a model as well. They're actually judging a lot. Ben, for example, is the judge at Stresa World Expo this year again in Italy, and when we go to shows, we oftentimes find that people actually know how to paint a miniature pretty well. So really good-looking miniatures, but the 2 areas that are lacking are freehands sometimes, and definitely bases. And that's exactly why we did those 2 DVDs, the season 1.2 with Stefan Rath, who actually just spent the weekend with me here as well. He gave a class in Berlin. Doing the freehands, and then we have the basing tutorial for season 1.3 with Ben and Matt. And you can just up the quality of whatever you do, whether it's your army, just a single army unit base, or like a unit base for like a whole unit, or even like a armies on parade kind of style base. This will up the quality of your work so much, and it's just going to have so much more fun involved in the project that I think I'm also looking forward to that DVD. Now, the cover that we're doing here is one that we did while Ben was on vacation. So the final cover will be much nicer.
Yeah, you got me that cover right away. Actually, I remember when we were discussing it. This is like a work in progress cover for everybody.
Oh yeah, this is not going to be the final cover. Ben and Marty usually throw stuff at me when I show them my little artwork, so this is not going to be the final cover. We're going to make it nicer. And for those who don't know, what we will do is Ben will actually paint the Vulture Demon for the World Expo in Stresa as a kind of large model diorama category. We will be able to do anything to it we want, he said. We can convert it, we can put parts on, take parts off, and so on. So I myself going to be very interested to see what the result is going to be.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. It'll be the front page on the website. It'll be all over our, like I'm just going to be such a huge fan. Hopefully I'll be able to jump on a plane and actually look at it in person.
That would be awesome. I mean, I told you before that if you want to have a nice romantic little holiday with Sophie, maybe go to Italy to a Mont San Savino show, which is, to me, is the #1 show. And there's a lot of really good shows, like the Hussar in Poland has just been announced for the 18th and 19th of October, for example. Then you've got the Euromilitaire, obviously. But I think the Monte San Savino is very special. And
I want to go to the Monte San Savino show. That city alone, it looks absolutely amazing.
Well, then you got Rome right around the corner. You got all of the other nice, really beautiful cities around the corner. Definitely worth a trip. Absolutely. Can only recommend it.
Well, and that's the sculpture heart of the world too. Like you couldn't have a greater concentration of amazing sculpture.
And also, what's nice about this show is because it's kind of like half historic and half fantasy. You see awesome pieces. I mean, the historic painters are just insane when it comes to like freehands and stuff. And you look at those and you go like, how did they do that? It's really, really good. So it's really nice.
Their armor and
yeah,
they do amazing stuff.
Yeah. Plus, it's awesome food there. There's a lot of eating going on. I can tell you that already. So,
oh yeah.
It's like a big family. It's just an awesome event. And I want to say thank you for the DVD early beard special graphics you did there. So people, you can see here the beard, and then you see it on the graphic there. That it looks pretty authentic. So.
And then that was my graphical contribution. So I'm glad I got to.
So, but yeah, that's going to be something. So we will be doing this DVD. The event is on the 14th of July, so it's not that much time. We estimate about 4 weeks just for the painting, and then of course we need conversion and so on top of that. But what we will do, so also to kind of make the waiting time for your miniatures a little more bearable, because it's not going to be next month that you will send them out. It's going to be a little while. We will actually show updates like work in progresses, status reports of making this DVD, and also of the model and the base, just for free for everyone to watch. And I think we'll also show a little bit about how we do DVDs, because people don't realize how much work it actually is.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
So the first the season 1.2 and 1.3 DVDs is a little over 1 year person in work. That went in there. Actually, it's almost a year and a half that just goes as work time in there, because we've been working on it with 4 guys. So it's a lot of work that goes in there. But I think it's going to be entertaining, and that's the main thing.
Well, it's so great too that you're offering a lot of that for free as well. Get everybody involved in that, and plus, man, like it's gonna be so cool to while you're doing that for free, we're gonna be doing, like, showing the work in progress. We're gonna be showing live sculpting demos. You know, even Raging Heroes had like a pledge reward. It was like one of the really expensive ones to watch them sculpt. Man, a person can watch me sculpt any day for free.
Maybe, you know what? As people always say, sex sells. Now, obviously, we don't do this, but the idea of just throwing in $5 every 10 minutes to watch you sculpt, maybe there's a business proposal right there.
I would pay it if I could pay the Forge World guys to watch them sculpt. I would easily do that.
That might actually beef up the numbers for the next financial report that I'm looking forward to quite a bit.
Well, especially with GoPros and with a lot of this kind of like people's ability to stream with great speed. Yeah, I love it. And for me, it is worth money. But you know what would be the best is a painting Buddha DVD, just showing the process. Looks beautiful. It's all nice and close up and macro. And I wish there was more DVDs for this kind of stuff, because I remember actually a while ago on Cool Mini, I got the Gail Gumon had a sculpting.
Yes.
And I watched that, and that was very inspiring to me. But it was a little dry. I thought maybe I wanted an interview segment, and I wanted a little more color in the DVD. But it was good.
I think if you're looking for dry, even the subject Earth is not going to be dry. I can promise you this much. We had so much fun filming, and if you know Matt and Ben, yeah, you'll see there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in those DVDs as well. Yeah. Good. So we have that. So what will happen after that? So let's say from August till the fulfillment date.
Well, first wave is, and you know, it's funny, when the campaign was done, I jumped right into sculpting. I was so like, I hadn't sculpted for a month, and I was like, oh, I just want to sculpt like crazy for 16 hours. So I sculpted for about 16 hours, and I got 4 hours of sleep last night, and so I pretty much sculpted ever since the campaign has ended. And then I realized I should probably get all my departments organized even before the Kickstarter funds get released. Because what happens is Kickstarter doesn't give me any of the money for 30 days. So once they unlock that money, then I can start to actually give people deposits for things. And I thought I would preemptively just kind of, you know, get everything ready to send out on the day. Because of course my goal here is to actually have a campaign that ships on time. And I'm now seeing that, you know, the good news is everybody returns your emails after you make 300K. So I don't have to worry about I no longer have to worry about that. But at the same time, it's a lot of moving parts. So although it's less moving parts than a lot of other campaigns, because I just have to deal with resin manufacturing. I don't have to deal with dice or paper or with really expensive packaging or, you know, little trays and stuff. That's just tricky when you have to go to more than one kind of manufacturing house. So first phase is this kind of getting sculpture in. So that means little base sculpts for new stuff that was developed during the campaign. It's just a couple optional upgrades and things like that. And then I sculpt, and then I produce photos of these sculpts, and I put them on Facebook. and I go through a little bit of a revision phase because people are gonna have great ideas, they always do, and
Mm.
do a little revision. Then I go to the printing phase after that, and the printing phase is like it's extremely expensive.
Mm.
It's like surgery. Like
Yeah.
you have to be very, very careful. And then once they get printed, and if everything goes good, it's just a huge party. I get to show photos. I get to hold them in my hand. Like that's my dream come true. Is I've been looking at some of these models for 2 years.
Mm.
So it's like giving birth. So that will be an amazing month of getting these printed and of course having to go through and also finish the printed models as well and make sure they're perfect for casting. And then phase 3 is casting, so that means it'll all be sent to the factory. Right now I'm talking to my sourcing people and just getting everything finalized there, and then I'll hopefully be able to get on a plane as well and report back to the backers exactly what's going on, because these are
Mm.
shareholders, so I think they'd be very interested in seeing the manufacture of the product.
That is
And
actually, if I may jump in there, I think that what you just said is very important. That's what I tell my guys as well. The people that buy our product, they're not buying our DVDs. They're buying a stake in what we do in the future. This to me is a concept of shareholder that I would like to see. I don't like the greedy shareholder that takes the money from the people to actually make sure that they can't do what they want to do. But no, this is exactly how I see it too.
Well, most shareholders are buying stock in companies that they're not that concerned with. They don't really care about like a gold mine or like some medical industry. The thing is, every backer on a Kickstarter is directly invested in that exact product. So it makes, I think the reason why we care about that is because, we're so close to that ground level. Like we're still on the ground level.
Mm.
So it's like if we were to piss anybody off at this point, we're in the same room as them at the convention. Like we're not in some special room with like eating some different food and having different
Mm.
conversations. I don't see any executives from GW walking around the convention hall, and so how are they going to really care about people's impressions of the product?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to leave the ground level. I like the ground level. So you even see, that's why you see Larry Elmore on the ground level.
Yeah.
It's like some people, all the guys from Soda Pop are on the ground level. So
Hmm.
it's a nice way to operate. And so yeah, like I think traveling. Also, Poots did it. Poots went to a factory and he reported as well. Mine will be, I think, even better because I get to show video. And
Yeah, you
people
could you
will.
could do like a little time lapse thing of the printing because it takes a long time to print, right? It's a
Well,
couple
how cool would
of
that
hours
be?
or days. Yeah, it'll go like bzzz, how it goes up. Nice.
Yeah, that'd be amazing watching the birth of one of these models.
Mm.
Absolutely. And video is cool because it just tells, if a picture tells 1,000 words, then video just tells 100,000 words. Like it's
Mm.
so nice to see. And by the way, like people wonder about the video and the graphic design on the website. I'm not saying this in an immodest way. And in some ways, I'm saying this in a very modest way. But my video editing is obviously pretty cave person. Like it's pretty basic. But I do all my video editing, all my shooting, all my writing, all my own uploading, all the graphic design on the Kickstarter page, plus
Hmm.
all the sculpture, all the artwork. I do all of the artwork. A lot of people don't realize that, but all the concept you see is done by me. So like this literally is the product of a person who just obviously have not many other things on the go.
And honestly, and that is the one area where we are completely different. I am not a very talented man. Like I can paint if I sit down, and if I really spend a lot of time, I actually get a pretty good result as well. I can sculpt for saving my life. And that's why I actually hired people that can do that because I do have a dream and I just can't do it by myself. So that's actually it's actually a nice position to be in to be able to do all of these kind of things. So I envy
Well,
you
and
very much for that.
it's also a nice position to not be able to do them. If you
Mm.
are concerned about quality and a cohesiveness, it's
Mhm.
great to have a director that has that oversight. And one of my biggest drawbacks is being able to have that overwatch of everything that is going on, plus also be the provider for the content.
Yeah.
So I really do like operations like Painting Buddha, like Kingdom Death.
Mm.
These are great examples of operations with management that is focused on every aspect at once.
Just want to go back to a couple of comments because there's a few. Erica just said one thing which I find very cute, and I'm going to say it. She said that she printed the pictures from the Creature Cast of Facebook and colored them with her kids and with pencils, since I don't have any program for it on my computer, just to get an idea for the color scheme for them. So she's already preparing. That's awesome.
That is a fantastic idea. That's a great idea. It kind of reminds me a bit of fashion design, where they will photocopy sketches and then do that with pencil crayon. So very, very cool, and very honored that you shared that with your kids, Erica.
And then we got Mr. General Way, who just has a very ambiguous message here, which I'm not going to read because that's going to be maybe misunderstood. But what he means is that it's not really that bad. So just read it yourself. But hey, Mr. General Way. And then I want to say, obviously, a lot of people have spent a lot of money right now on your Kickstarter. That might leave some of them dry for a couple of days or weeks for other Kickstarters. And I want to point you to something that's completely free and awesome. And will probably entertain you for a couple of weeks if you follow my link here. We have a comment from Adam Parkhouse. He says, thanks for providing interesting backdrop to the humdrum of work. It's definitely making it's making me want to go and paint some minis. And now he's involved with something that's called Portal. And if you know WAMP, the WAMP forum, it's probably one of the biggest forums out there, next to Daka Daka and the Bell of Lost Soul. The Portal magazine is a completely free publication. It comes out about once a month. I think they're at number 36 or number 37 now. And they have a Facebook page. It's called facebook.com Portal Magazine. And they'll update you whenever anything is there for download. And then on the webforum.com/vb4 downloads.php, that very user-friendly name, you can actually download all of these magazines, and you can actually see there's a couple of thousand, like 13,000 people downloading the magazine, and it's completely for free. And there's articles about new miniatures, about how to paint, or to bases, and so on. Definitely something for anyone out there who's interested in miniatures. Check this out. It's good and it's free. And it's like, well, it's hard to beat.
That's amazing. That's an awesome magazine.
Yep. So that's my shout out there. All right. So what else is to say?
I don't know, man. Like that's, you know, it's funny. After I get off of this interview, I'm going to be meeting up with another guy who's starting his own Kickstarter. He's actually a 3D sculptor, and he's got his own anatomical models that he wants to cast. He's getting them resin cast, and he wants to do an actual Kickstarter. So I'm kind of paying it forward. Like, I'm able to do some of my consultation work and just over a coffee, you know, a couple hours, and help people out. And it's a nice way of kind of paying it forward. And then I'm right back here, and I'm sculpting, and I'm really liking the way the sculpture is going. You change if you walk away from something for a little while. You as a person change, and it kind of affects your approach with art. And I was wondering how my approach was going to change. And since I've been sculpting, I'm very pleased with just my own pace and my own rhythm. And I'm just really concentrating on my rhythm, just to let everybody know in Kickstarter world, everybody who's a backer, everybody who's been following the campaign. It isn't overly stressful right now. I'm feeling good. I'm trying to get sleep. I tend to just sleep for 4 hours at a time.
That's the first thing I said to you when you came on in the pre-show. It's like, man, you look awake. It's like no dark shadows around the eyes. Like.
Yeah, I slept good, and my body feels good. You know, like I actually went to the gym once, so I'm just trying to eat, because sometimes when I sculpt, I kind of forget to eat sometimes.
Another things where we differ a lot, yes. quite the opposite right there.
You'll see me eat, and Monte, you'll see me I'll eat like crazy.
You probably see me too. So, but don't tell my mom; she'll not be happy. All right. Well, I know that we'll talk again. which is awesome. I'm already looking forward to that. It's probably not going to be next week, but maybe when the pledge manager is ready, I think that would be a good time to.
Yeah, maybe let's do a little run through of the pledge manager when it goes up. I'm sure we'll talk before that, but definitely maybe I'll give you a sneak peek of the pledge manager actually.
And then we could maybe just do this live on the air. You walk me through my pledge manager, how I change things around, and then people know how it works. It'd be awesome. Now, there's some people out there I know that still do have some money left. And I want to just point to a couple of other really cool Kickstarters. Now, first of all, I don't want to just say buy our product. I want to thank everyone who's already bought it because we have a couple of hundred pre-orders, and you guys really help us make this work. We will be receiving everything in May. I still don't have the date yet. I hope I get it today or tomorrow, and as soon as we have the dates, we'll send out an email to all of the supporters. And remember, right now it's still cheaper. It's the early beard special, and we have free stretch goals, free miniature, modeling clay, and of course the always lovely stickers. So that's that. But what I really wanted to show you is another Kickstarter. That is, we talked to Justin Ten about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, for his Kickstarter that just went live, Arcane Factories. Also, BEEBLE BABBLE up for that if you want to check that out. Some really nice models and definitely worth supporting. And then I also want to show another Kickstarter, which is by a good friend Liliana Troy from Hangar 18 Miniatures, and it's already funded. It's another week to go. Very different subject, very different models. It is a let me just get the artworks here. It's kind of like a pin-up, like the 50s kind of style, turned into 32 mil and 54 mil miniatures. And there's some really awesome designs in there. Like I personally really like which did it for me was the Sputnik girl here, the cosmonaut, and this one here.
Look at that pose.
Yeah, and the nice thing is they really did a good job on putting these. Let me just find this real quick. Oh,
yeah, they mount it really nicely on the
yes, on the Sputnik itself.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
The way these translate to models is very cool.
Yeah,
it might have been in a video.
Yes, and actually, is this the update? Oh, this is the update page. That's why they just unlocked the $25,000 goal today. Oh, yeah. So let me just. I'm sorry to.
That's a good-looking campaign as well. Look at how clean that is.
Yes, it's very clean, and here you actually see also it's a 3D modeling, a printout of the Sputnik girl, for example. It's really nice quality. There's some really cool stretch goals also in there, like a free photo background, and these photo backgrounds are awesome. I already have seen them. Idea. They're really nice. So definitely worth checking that out, and I'm pretty sure that we will see many of these miniatures at events in the future because they're just really nice and beautiful to paint. All right. So this
Plus that artwork's been around for a little while. I used to work for Spec Ops, and that artwork was worn by Special Operations soldiers on T-shirts and on stickers for a long time. So it's really cool to see it also become a miniature as well.
Yeah, and of course these are kind of like showcase miniatures. Then they're probably not going to be used for paint for gaming, but I really like them. So if you want to do that, check out Hangar 18 Miniatures on Kickstarter, and I think that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and Miasma War, if you get a chance, you'll see the links on my update. They got their Kickstarter going too. It's pretty cool.
Which one?
It's called Miasma War. So if you're in your Kickstarter search bar, just type in Miasma War, and
how do you spell that?
Miasma. M-I-A-S-M-A?
No.
Oh, M-I. Just change the Y with the name.
Sorry, I said Miasma?
Yeah, you got it. Ooh. And it's the first one there. So, it's a couple folks from Daka Daka, and they got a nice looking JRPG style, almost like an anime role-playing game style.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you're into the anime and stuff like that, it's a great little tabletop version of the kind of Final Fantasy Tactics style game.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out as soon as the show's over.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It'd be a fun little game to play. I like the little grid system.
All right, so Yeah, Adam, no thanks for the shout out. I think we all have to thank you for doing this for free for the Portal magazine. No thanks to thank us. When do we get a Wave 2 sneak peek? The Bane Morph. Sorry, the show is over. We can't do it now.
Classified.
Classified.
No, wave 2. I'm not even thinking about it. Trust me. If I let myself think about it, I've got plenty of good ideas. I got so many good ideas from people. Some of which I'm dying to sculpt. Not trying to push it out of my mind. I'm not thinking about game systems. I've had maybe half a dozen. Right now my Skype is blowing up. I've got people asking me about consultation work, about doing artwork for their games. Actually a pretty big, I'll tell you about it a while from now, but a pretty big board game company just contacted me. I had to tell them that I wasn't interested. 100% completely focused on fulfillment. Nothing can stop me. I'm just a dog and a bone.
Okay, good. Well, if you ever need a nice slap in the face for getting you stopped somewhere, let me know. I got people.
Like a boxer.
I wouldn't do it. See, people think this is just a fashion statement. No, this is actually protection from my guys because they will do it. Right? So the last thing that I realized at this show today is I changed my background I'm surrounded by 3 monitors here, and I changed it to orange. And I'm actually looking like I am on fire, even my face. So I'll actually have to change this to either white or get better lighting here. So this is this was a really hot show today. All right, Jeremy, as always, a pleasure. Once again, congratulations for not just a very successful Kickstarter, but for a very, very well done Kickstarter. I think people will be talking about this for quite a while. So
thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show. Right. Thanks for making amazing painting DVDs, and that's going to be a lot of fun when we get to show people that.
All right, and I'll hopefully see you sometime somewhere this year. The planet is not that big, so...
It's a small world. It's a small world after all.
Oh no! Oh my God! Now I got this song in my head. that is the horror trip at Disney World. And I went to Disney when I lived in Japan. I went to Disney World Tokyo. And like, Sekai wa se.
It's nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it never ends. This is horrible. That is probably the worst dream I have. Is like being stuck on this ride and never be able to leave. And you got this song going the whole way. It's a small world after all.
It is nightmare fuel. It's pure nightmares.
All right. So for everyone out there watching, thank you very much for watching. As always, share and enjoy. If you like this, tell other people about it. It's really just a kind of private Skype conversation that we make public with a little fancy overlay. And yeah, thanks for watching. Signing out. And stay tuned. Oh, wait. We have to do this.
Okay.
We gotta do the snippy.